Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the main event. I'm Daniel, and tonight we're going to be finding out who the main eventer of 1990 is. Oh yeah, we got 5 nominees, possible main eventers of 1990. Let's go through that list. We got Black Scorpion. Ric Flair, of course. Although I'm not gonna lie, Black Scorpion, the most interesting thing he did that year, in my opinion, but whatever. We got Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, Sting, and the Ultimate Warrior. Alright, so let's do this. Let's jump into it. Before we find out who the main eventer of 1990 is, let's find out who's in third place. In third place, Hulk Hogan. Wow. Keeps going further down. I could have sworn he was, honestly, when I first started the concept of the main event, I was like, this dude's going to cruise through the 80s. I figured about 90 or so he would start declining a little bit. But I was like, he'll make it through the 80s at least. And he did it twice, 2 years in a row, but then he's been runner-up ever since. And this is actually the first year that he's been third place. And to me, it's very easy to see where he's at. It was clear, not just to the fans, but to management and everything, that it was time for a change. Hogan's been on top of the world now, or the wrestling world for over 5 years, so they're like, it's time to pass the torch on, and they did that with the Ultimate Warrior. So, but in doing so, now I'm not gonna lie, let's face it, in WWF there were still only 2 major stars, Warrior and Hogan. That's it. He didn't lose a lot of popularity. It was just, they definitely took the belt off of him. For me, I guess why he drops is, obviously he didn't have the title for a majority of the year. He only had for the first, few months. But the other reason that he loses out here is, he took some time off. Now don't get me wrong, if anybody needs some time off, it would have been Hogan. The dude's super busy or whatever. I don't remember if this was the time when he went ahead and filmed Suburban Commando. I would assume it was. But that wasn't the reason they gave. Remember, we're looking at this through their storyline, like what they're cranking out, they're feeding us right now. And so, what it was, he loses the Warrior, and then he just, quits for a little bit. He pouts, he takes his ball, and goes home. That was it. That was the reason. He just had self-doubt. He couldn't beat the Warrior. I'm gonna retire. And then he gets injured by earthquake. And he was out for the summer. Now, we all know the real reason, but guess what? As a kid, watching that, you're like, wow, Hogan crumbles. As me today, going back and rewatching all this old, wrestling stuff, I'm realizing, dude, Hogan's, his character even, is a bit of a bitch. Seriously, he's heelish as fuck. He is heelish as fuck, and, not really a role model. You would think he would be. He's all-American, train, eat your steroids, say your prayers. But then, he does, the most childish stuff. Seriously, he gets thrown out of a Royal Rumble, gets pissed, and comes back in and eliminates someone else. Because he didn't win. When something doesn't go his way, he runs back and he'll cheat like a motherfucker. It's ridiculous. And then this is another example. He loses WrestleMania, he's like, I'm just going home. I don't care. I don't need this. But anyways, super popular, and guess what? He did headline damn near every pay-per-view in WWF at that year. With the exception of SummerSlam. And of course, even then, they even kind of gave him the co-main event, So yeah. Third place, Hulk Hogan. Runner-up, the Ultimate Warrior. Wow. The first time ever, somebody in the NWA is going to be the main eventer of the year. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about the Warrior. This was his year. In fact, I will say right now, his best year of his entire career, period. Seriously, this was the best year he's had thus far, and this would be the best year he would have from on out. It all went downhill from here. Not to say his 91 year wasn't too bad. At least the first half of it was. But then, of course, we all know the SummerSlam debacle that would happen. But, just even from storylines perspective, it was just a damn good year. The Warrior climbed his way up to the top of the mountain. Was not going to be scared off by Hogan. Battled Hogan at WrestleMania 6, defeated him, and then would go on to, have a, run with the title. I think for me, the reason why he drops to, runner-up, and the reason he's not the main eventer, is because, in all honesty, his run was very lackluster. Now, at this point, even at this point, 1990, I'm not expecting everybody to have a Hogan 3-year title run at all. I'm not. I'm just not. So I'm okay with that. we're getting to that point now where, you know, a year title run is good. I mean, that's, you know, what you'd expect. I mean, you get that, you're like, holy shit. So, we're at that point in time in wrestling right now where if you had title for even a year, you was thumbs up. But it was just what he did with the title during that time. I mean, really, his only title defense, now not necessarily his fault, because we're in a time right now where two of these pay-per-views are gimmick pay-per-views, Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because if you've been watching this program, you know I love the Royal Rumble and I love Survivor Series, my two favorite pay-per-views. But unfortunately, you know, his SummerSlam was, you know, the only title defense he had, and the rest of the time he teamed up after that. But it's, you look at even between the lines there, between the pay-per-views even, you know, he didn't have a huge successful title run. I mean, he was just fighting, you know, this, that, and the other, but there was no major stories going into it, and he spent a bulk of time teaming with the Legion of Doom to fight Demolition. It's like, dude, you're the face of the company, man. You're supposed to be, you know, but he didn't. And yeah, I mean, and then of course they would end shortly after the end of the 90s, so, or sorry, 1990. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, with that said, he was still the top guy in WWF. Like, bar none. He was the guy in 1990, which is why he got runner-up instead of third place where Hogan got. But yeah, he was the man, and I think the only thing that really kind of helped him, the really thing that kind of hindered him from going up to become the main eventer of 1990 is the fact that none of his storylines really seemed to be that enthralling. He didn't really have a whole lot of feuds, and really the Rick Rude feud was just kind of there because they had a feud preview. Like, they didn't really have, like, the feud didn't really go anywhere building up to SummerSlam or even afterwards. It was just like, hey, I used to fight you. I have a victory over you before. I want my title shot. And that's all it was. That was it. So, yeah, so those promotions right there, he's runner-up. Not to take anything away from him. He had a great year that year. He had a hell of a match at WrestleMania 6. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. But he was featured on all four cards, all four main events. So, I mean, he's got that going for him. All right, so who could it be? We're down right now. The main eventer of 1990 is Sting. Sting. Once again, this is a huge event because, let's face it, I'm not a big NWA guy, so the fact that NWA guy won my main eventer of the year, that's something. But when I looked back, and I had the list, I had all five of the people on the list, and I was like, well, who deserves it? I started ranking them and shit. It was very clear to me that it had to be Sting. I'm not a fan of Sting. I didn't like. For me right now, because I didn't watch NWA or WCW until like '96. By the time I came in, because I even came in after he left. Like, I came in kind of even a little bit later in the NWO invasion. So the only Sting I knew was Crow Sting, like Crow Sting, and that was it. I saw clips. I had a toy of Surfer Sting, but that was I didn't know much about him. And then just from doing this show right here and watching him, I'm just not that impressed. He's a decent wrestler, but I don't know. He's just too boring. I don't know. Not a fan. Not a fan. But I can't deny the fact that he was the man in WCW, especially at this time. The dude was injured. WCW did the right thing of keeping him out there. Like, he was relevant even throughout his injury. Still involved in storyline, dude, because fans loved him. Like, and it was just clear that he was a critic. He was a fan's choice, and he was super popular. So I mean, it was just a matter of time that once he came back, he got that title. And yeah, I mean, he got the title. He basically just defended against the Horsemen, but still, that's Sting's whole deal. You know, he was fighting for what's right in WCW. He always had. Like, even when I was watching it, he was, you know, sticking up for WCW for the most part. Even then, of course, you know, Russo came in, and well, we'll leave it at that. But whatever. Even before Russo, he did join Wolfpack, which was just kind of left field. But whatever. So yeah, that, you know, you got Sting riding high in 1990. And I think it worked for a couple of reasons, because you got to think about it this way too. When you think back to like the face of NWA and WCW, I mean, especially early in the 80s and late 80s and even early 90s, I guess, it was still Flair. People just assumed, like, they just associate Flair. And it's always weird, I thought, because like typically you'd want a face to be your face of the company, so to speak. You want your baby face to be like, the guy front and center. And I just feel like they never quite had the right baby face. They tried with Luger. I guess Dusty Rhodes would be closest thing, but that was before we started doing this show. That was prior to 87 and back. So I mean, it wasn't Dusty. It wasn't Luger. Ricky Steamboat came in for a brief period, but then he was gone. So Sting was the first one to kind of hit and stick. As far as being like a franchise player, being the face of the company, being WCW's version of Hogan is what I guess I'm looking at. And of course, I mean, he's like the Warrior. I don't give. I'm not talking about appearance. I'm just talking about, you know, he's the good guy. He's the main good guy. He's fighting evil, and he filled that role. I mean, he came in and filled that void. So I think for all those reasons right there, you know, even though I'm not a big fan, he is the main eventer. He is the guy of 1990. So there you have it. Third place, Hulk Hogan. Runner-up, the Ultimate Warrior. And the main eventer of 1990, Sting. So there you have it. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Tune in tomorrow night. We begin 1991. New year. And yeah, we're starting off with the Royal Rumble. Oh yeah, you better believe it. So yeah, catch you guys then.